Привіт, мене звати Christoph. Я народився в Берліні, я діджей і продюсер. Yeah, I'm happy to see you here all, and I'm very glad that I have the opportunity to be here. I hope you're all doing okay. I'm showing you a little bit today my workflow and how I collect some ideas, as it was like a very short notice idea of module exchange and me to do this class today. I thought like, okay, maybe doing a sketch together and show you how I develop a track from scratch would be more easy for me and for you maybe to understand, because I can tell you my workflow and make music is very chaotic in a way. I'm definitely not really, I know a few things about the technical side, but mainly my music comes always about from my heart or from like a feeling I have with me. So yeah, that's why maybe for some it might look a little bit chaotic, but you know, after a while of making music, you stick with the program and you tell yourself, okay, never change a running system, kind of. For sure, like everything in making music is about evolving and learning and going to the next step with yourself. With your mind and also with knowledge, of course. But yeah, I think we just dive into an old project. I mean, it's not that old, it's from last year, October, where I was really into dub techno. I don't know if some of you like dub techno. Or know what is dub techno about. It's like more, it's like a very deep and slow version of techno, which I really like, because for me it's very connected to the city where I'm coming from, to Berlin. It's when I'm, especially during this time in October, I'm sitting in the train and everything is kind of rainy and already a little bit more empty on the street, then I really like to listen to this kind of music, because it's transforming a lot of nice, warm emotions for me. So yeah, let's first have a quick listen, and then I will go a little bit through the project and show you what the single tracks are doing in here, and maybe then afterwards, after explaining this a little bit, I just think we start from scratch, and then I explain what I would maybe do when I'm sitting in the studio, or sometimes, I don't know, in the airport or whatever, when I start to make music. Because I have mainly my laptop. I'm not so much into analog gear. That has many reasons, because it was for a long time not really financially accessible for me. And on the other hand, it's also nice to just have always the possibility, wherever and whenever I want, to start a project and, you know, start to draft some things, or even finish some things, or I don't know, to just make some chaos in there. So, oh, wait, sorry, change the output here. that's as a little insight of what dub techno could sound like. I mean, it's like a kind of more modern version of it, I would say. Like when you go back to the pioneers of this music, which would be, for example, Basic Channel. Maybe some of you heard about them. They are like kind of one of the roots of this music. There's even more noise going on and even more delays and so on. So it's like, for me, dub techno is like a very simple kind of genre, but the elements which are in there are very, very hypnotizing in a way, and with the delays, like it's a lot about delays. From there comes also this, maybe you know this Roland tape delay box. It used to be quite affordable, but now I think if you want to get some of those, it's, I don't know, like in a good condition, around €1,000, I would say, in the internet. But luckily nowadays we have so many plugins which could emulate this sounds. For sure, it's always a little difference when you have the machine there, because the machines are having this kind of little difference of their own life, kind of. But yeah, I mean, the technique nowadays is so well developed that you could go to a very, very close example to the compared to the analog productions. So yeah, what did I do here? So let's come to the main element, let's say. First, it's of course a chord. This is just made with Ableton's analog synthesizer, which I think is actually quite powerful if you know how to use it. Basically, you can do everything what you want with it. You can do pads, chords, steps, noises, bass lines, hi-hats even, like everything is possible with it, and the sound quality of it is actually quite decent. And the melodic part of it is a chord. Sadly, I can't tell you which kind of chord, because when I'm doing this music, I'm more, as I'm saying, try and error. But with the new Ableton version, it makes our producer's life much more easy if you don't have this musical background or something. You can, here on the left side, just scale it, and Ableton is showing you kind of which would be the right notes to add to a chord. But sometimes I like also to add just, you know, something out of the raster, because you know, you never know if it sounds nice, or only because some program is telling you, or some teachers are telling you, okay, this is how you have to do it. Maybe if you go out of this tip or so, then you find out even more interesting stuff. But yeah, I'm clicking then around here when I'm in the studio, and when it sounds nice to me, then I go ahead with my effect chains. Also, when I'm starting a new project, from the beginning trying to make like a pre-mix down, let's say, because for me in my workflow, I always like to finish the track as quick as possible to really catch the emotion and the feeling I had in this moment. Because like in the past, it was a lot of time like this, that when I started the project and made it like 80% done, and then tried to go back on it a few days after, sometimes or most of the times it was that I lost the moment of it, and I would rather change everything to a complete new track. So I tried to finish everything or most of it in one session. especially arrangement and all the automations and so on. I think it's really important to do it in that moment because the automations and the creation of the track, like the composition of the track, I think is what you try to say with your idea and with your emotion. So that's why I think for me this is the most important part of the track. So yeah, here we have the chord, which I in the beginning filter a little bit, also with, I mean, I mainly use Ableton things because I think actually they are quite decent. As the tempo is also in 120 BPM, it's nice when the elements come like very slow and very yeah, like from the back, you know, like that you really feel like the track is going up somewhere with like opening the cutoff of the filter. So in the moment when the cutoff is on its highest peak, you have this kind of, you know, when you stand on the dance floor and the DJ is cutting the bass out and then bringing it back, it's kind of this releasing moment kind of. And with this effect, I'm trying to do this in my tracks as well because I love to produce music, but I'm mainly a DJ, I would say. So my productions are also very kind of like how I would play a DJ set in a way. But I'm telling you more about this when we start the new sketch. So yeah, then I added here from the same synthesizer some different melody, which is kind of bringing a little bit movement in it and makes it from the vibe a little bit more dreamy, because only the chord in the beginning, I think it has its darkness. That's also what dub techno has a lot. It has this kind of melancholic deepness in there, but also when you add some more melodic chords on top of the main synthesizer, then it becomes like you can actually decide which direction it takes. Like if you have a happy day, of course you make more happy chords or whatever, or if you feel more sad or melancholic, then you would add more something into this direction. In this direction, I would say, in my case here, I would say it's kind of a mix between being melancholic and I don't know, also kind of happy with the moment, like everything is like sitting here in the chair and enjoying the moment, kind of. And yeah, then we have another chord here, which is kind of like very subtle in the background, and I would call it even a little bit rhythmic, so to say. Like if you bring it up with the main chord, it's like kind of when you put the claps on 2 and 4, it gives like the direction of the rhythm. And then together with the other one, the other one is more the mood giver, I would say, of this melody. Yeah, altogether it sounds like this then. And one essential part of dub techno is also the bass, of course, because dub in general and dub techno has also big roots in Jamaica actually, and from there comes also the bass music, and dub is also like, yeah, very bass influenced music. So this is my sub bass. And yeah, it's like, this is kind of like, you could put this easily in so many different situations of a track. It could be even in a house track or like kind of funky stuff. Because I think for me, for my taste, this is like, you know, this kind of funky bass line where you start to like move your body and yeah, try to get into the dance mood. Altogether, it sounds then like this. So it's like, for me, it brings the rolling effect in it. And then, of course, if you add the kick, right? Where do we have the kick? Then everything starts to roll and get this like typical dub techno effect. That because of the delays, it's like it's constantly going on, like this rolling effect. Yeah. Exactly. So, yeah, talking about the delays in this project is also very important. That you have, like the delay is kind of like a main instrument of this music as well. Because without the delay, I can show you the example here in the main chord. It would just sound like very static. It would become more like a typical like techno track if you pitch up the BPM. But with a delay on it, it becomes like a complete new rhythm, and even like the last step of it, you can hear it from the delay. There's like this little effect, which is like I didn't made it in the piano roll, so it's really coming just from the delay effect. So from this, you can understand how important it is as well to put the delay on this instrument, because without it, it would be just like super dry. Yeah. Then we have the hi-hats. Like, I like to keep it very simple in this type of music. So it really don't need like a ton of different sounds or like elements, because the main thing what you should concentrate just on, or what I concentrate on when I do this kind of music, is really how the chords are evolving all the time, and everything else, like the kick. As you can hear, the kick is also very much in the background, because it's just like a complement to all the other stuff. And the same is it also for the rest of the drums. So that's why I added just here the simple 909 open hi-hat, also from Ableton's 909 core kit. I think I even started to produce this track when I was, I don't know, sitting in a train or something. Then there's like a little closed hi-hat, which is fastening up the groove a little bit. If you can hear it here, like this. It's like very minimal in the background just, but as you maybe also know, there's like this little kind of frequencies which fulfill the whole groove. Sometimes it's nearly not hearable, but in the whole picture it totally accomplished the full picture. And then yeah, 2 and 4 clap, basic. Yeah. And it's also a very simple, arrangement only, because it would be a little bit too much, I think, if you have 1,000 breaks in this type of music, because when you listen to all the old basic channel tracks, they even don't have breaks. They're like sometimes 12 minutes long, and 12 minutes, nothing is changing basically. The only thing what happens is that the delay of the chord is like unsynced, and because of the unsynced delay in the dub chord, it's like constantly evolving and yeah, changing, but still very minimalistic. All right. then, yeah, this is how it looks when I'm doing dub techno. And I think now we can start to do a track from scratch. So my Ableton also, I don't have a template. It's like my Ableton really looks like full-on basic, like you just buy it and then you open it, because just recently I started to watch more workflow tutorials, and there's a lot of producers actually who have like this crazy templates where everything is already in there. So like you have already a bunch of kicks, a bunch of different bass line types or whatever, but first of all, it would completely overwhelm me to open a project and then there's already someone who's saying like, okay, this is the direction you should go today. And I just like to open Ableton and get always surprised, like, because I always do something different, and I also never only say that, okay, today I'm gonna do a techno track, or today I'm gonna do an electro track or whatever. Like, it can also be that I have the feeling of, for example, you go to a party and you're feeling super inspired, and then afterwards you open Ableton, like at home or in the studio or something, and you feel like, okay, I want to do this club banger, but in the end you make something completely different. And this is something what I really enjoy about making music, that there's no rules, there's nobody who, there's for sure something what you need to learn about how compressors work and what you should maybe equalize in a track and something like this, but in the end music is something what only the artist decides what it sounds like in the end. So if you think you want to do like a super fucked up track which sounds completely oversaturated or whatever, then just do it, because if you enjoy it in the end, that's the most important part of it. And I think always that if there are people who enjoy what you did when you, for example, release the track or something, then that is like a nice cherry on the cake. But I think making music is something very intimate and basically in the beginning only for you. Yeah. So it's like for me, it's always something where I kind of transform my thoughts and emotions into like a kind of constant reflection and therapy with what is going on inside of me. So that's why I have this blank page of Ableton all the time. It's like I have some friends, they are, when I'm making with them music together, they are like looking at me in the studio and be like, I don't understand how you make music, but it's like I'm clicking around sometimes for hours and hours, but then there comes this one particular moment when everything starts to sound really nice and the idea actually goes into a proper track. So yeah, also I always like to start with the live mode. I mean, do all of you work with Ableton, or are there also, yeah? Yeah. So I also work always with Ableton. I don't know, it's like, I heard that there are some programs like Logic and so on, which people say have a better output of audio in the end. So they say it sounds nicer, but I don't know, like I can't hear a difference in there. Like maybe if you give it to like some proper mastering engineer or so, they would hear a difference probably. But for my terms, I think Ableton is super easy to understand, and I like also how it looks. So it's like it's not annoying to look at it, and yeah. All right. So first, I'm always deleting this first tracks in there, and also the so basically it's nothing in there. And like I like to start always with putting in the drum, because I really hate the what is it called in English? I don't know. Like the time orientation of Ableton. It sounds for me horrible. This, like, it's like if I have this while I'm making music, I would be like, oh my god, this is so annoying. So that's why I'm using always the kick as an orientation. I mean, it might change in the end, but I also love the 909. I have to say, I used to have as well the analog rhythm from what is the brand called again? What is the brand? Yeah, exactly. So it's a really, really nice drum machine, but I love the 909. I mean, the 909 is in so many good techno productions, and it's so flexible in a way. I mean, you can do also everything with a rhythm, for example, and it's really, really a powerful machine. Like you can distort it until the hell, I'd say. But yeah, I like the 909. And then I'm putting in the bass drum, and of course turning off the annoying sound. And yeah, then I set up a tempo. Let's say, I don't know, tomorrow there's a backyard, so maybe it's gonna be a little bit more housey. House is like in between 120 and 100, I don't know, 30, 32, let's say. And I work a lot with samples. Like over the years, I collected everything what is possible to download illegally. Or sometimes, you know, you sit with some other friends in the studio and they have some nice sample packs as well. You're like, oh, we should exchange our sample packages. And this is like, over the years, you just collect all the stuff together. I also started, I think, 1 year ago to kind of putting them into folders. That works more, sometimes better, sometimes not so nice, because there's always some new stuff coming, and sometimes I'm just too lazy to put that inside, so I rather have it than just in the total samples total folder. But yeah, sometimes I find the moment when I would be like, okay, today is a day I don't feel inspired at all, so I rather do something more dry and organize my sample library. Which also can be, for example, if you organize your sample library and in the beginning you don't feel inspired, but going through all the samples, then you can be feeling overwhelmed and totally tired afterwards, but you can also be like, oh wait, this is actually a nice sample, so I should start to make a track. Okay, let's stick then to the more housey characteristic. And for that, I found a really, really nice sample package, which is somewhere here. It's called Jungle Jungle. And it's basically also for free. You can just find it when you type in Google. I think it comes with Telecom Electronic Beats. It's on their website. There's like this article about this free sample package, and it's basically loops and cuts from all the old 90s jungle tracks, as the name already says. And when you go inside of here, there's like this typical aim and break, all kinds of breaks, yeah. And then I'm starting to, yeah, to see what is nice, maybe. Okay. falling break, yeah, sounds cool for me now. Then I just drop it in here, and yeah, one thing, what I'm always doing in the beginning, I mean, actually I could do a template at least for this. I'm always putting an auto filter on the master and cut off the bass. So I have the playing a DJ set effect when I'm routing it to the 1 on my keyboard, and then I can, you know, control the on and off button of the filter, and it gives me so much fun while producing. I'm also, for example, when I'm starting to create my melodies, I'm basically always working without the bass, but I mean for sure not completely, because then you don't hear if the harmonics and everything is working together. But if you have a little bit in it taken out, I mean, it sounds like this. Wait, I'll make it a little louder for us here. Can we make it a little louder? Yeah, thank you. So, and then, you know, you have this kind of DJ set effect. Easy. And I like to produce like this because during the process it gives me just so much fun. Okay, that's a little bit loud. Okay, this is how it comes together. But of course, to take it just like you drag and drop the sample in it, it would be a little bit too easy then. And then also I'm always checking the transients of the loop, if it's correct timed, because sometimes you, especially with all the old loops, sometimes they are so badly recorded that when you load them into Ableton, the transients are just like everywhere, but not where you want to have them. And then, of course, the not so nice working process of warping starts to begin, which I always hate so much, like, because I'm very impatient, let's say it like this, and to click in here and zoom in and do like the most minimalistic transient change, it's like my nightmare. I don't know, but also I like to not have it always everything on the perfect spot, because with this you can create this happy accidents, and you can create like grooves and sometimes different structures where you, when you just look at it, would never think about to do. So yeah, this is for now how it sounds. And then I'm thinking like, okay, maybe we don't need the whole loop of it. Maybe we just also take here the hi-hat part of it. That's maybe a little bit short, and then you can change the starting point to check out, like, okay, what sounds the best in for this loop. Okay, that sounds already nice for me. And then maybe we can duplicate it. Yeah, Command D, also shortcuts, lifesaver in making music. And then I'm like, sometimes I like to do these variations, and you can rather do them in here and just, for example, also do follow action stuff. I don't know if you're familiar with follow actions in Ableton. Do you know what it is? Follow actions? You don't know what it is? No? So follow action is a super nice feature of Ableton, which basically, if you really spend a lot of time with, for example, you would have, I don't know, 8 tracks, all the elements are there which you need for the track, and you could do your arrangement with duplicating all the little clips here. Like, for example, you start and then you just like say, okay, in the beginning you just have the kick running, and then you start to create your arrangement inside of the live view, and then you just click here on the right side. I'm showing here, but you can't see it. But here on the right side, there is this play button. So this is for the first clip, and then you go to the second, and it would start then again with the drum loop re-added. So, and all this kind of things you can also do with the follow actions, which is when you go inside of the clip, and then there's here on the left little box. You have, first it looks like this, so you have control over the loop length and if the loop is activated and so on. On the right side is all the warping and the different type of warping. If you want to have, for example, like complex, with complex it mostly sounds, especially when you have audio files with vocals or pads or something like very what needs to be clear and more flowing. I always do it with complex because it's like more softer. And if you have drum loops, I do it with beats, with the type warping type beats, because you have control also about the transients, so you can like shorten them up. Like if you extremely shorten them up, for example, it sounds like this, and I'm soloing here. So it's like this, and then you can lengthen it. Yeah. So it's like cutting, it's like the decay of the loop kind of. And then then you click here next to the loop section. There's another little folder, and you click on it, and there we come to follow action. And if you activate follow action, you can say like, okay, I want that the loop stops after one bar, or I want to have it play again, or you can also say that it goes on to the next loop. So we will do that now and put this to the first again. So also duplicating again. And then for the second one, let's deactivate it for a second. For the second one, we will look for a different part of the loop. Oh, wait, it's a little bit short. So, and I don't know if you could follow me here, but the thing is, with this follow actions, you can basically control for how long you want to have this loop activated. This is really nice when you, for example, I like to record my arrangements with like a little MIDI controller. For this I have the Archive MIDI Mix. It's like a very small, very flat little MIDI controller, which allows me, I can take it everywhere. It fits easily into my bag, and it has a lot of potis on there, which I can MIDI map to everything what I want to. And also it has 8 faders, with I can control my tracks in Ableton, and then you can also jump around if you, for example, have more tracks than 8 inside of your project. But usually when I, in this moment of record the track, then I'm trying to minimalize my project to 8 tracks, because I have the best control of it. And then when I have MIDI mapped everything, for example, the cutoff of a filter of the synthesizer or something, then I can concentrate on this, on making the automation as nice as possible as I want to have them, and I don't need to focus, for example, to click on the clips to activate the next ones. So you can basically program the whole arrangement, like when does it go to the next step, and then you can concentrate on different stuff like recording automations and stuff like this, which I think is really nice because then you can really concentrate on the musical part of the composition afterwards. Okay, coming back to finding nice variants. Of course, I mean now we have so also to show you again how this follow actions works, like I'm pressing play now here. And then it changes automatically to the next clip. And like all these little details you can adjust here on the left side. You can say how often you want to have the loop played. For example, you just want to have it one time playing, then it's really short. Or if you want to have it like, I don't know, for example, like 16, right? Then and it goes on for as long as you want to have it play. And okay, 16 was a little bit a lot, but just for you to understand how this could work. All right. Okay, that sounds okay for now. I mean, this is like one thing how you can do that, but in the other way you can also just, if you have two variations of the same loop and you like them together, then you can just drag and drop them into the arrangement view. Let's take the other one as well and zoom in. So now you have both of them next to each other, and you could just like putting them together. For example, maybe let's say I want to have the first loop playing for this amount. Right. Yeah, sorry if it's a little bit chaotic here sometimes, but yeah. So now you have both of the two different variations in one, and if you mark them and press Command J, they will transform into one audio file. So Ableton is automatically putting them together. And yeah, so that's also easy way to do this kind of variations of loops. So this is how it's now sounding. Okay, and now we can put it back into our view here, and then with the kick it sounds like this. All right. Okay, that doesn't fit so much, but we can warp. Right. Zack, zack. Okay. Okay. Okay, that don't sound so nice to me, but then I will just shorten it up to the first variation and stick to this. Otherwise, I would just like, you know, play too long around with one loop, and that's then also kind of frustrating. And yeah, so Then I would add a bass line maybe to also understand where we like scale-wise going to, because I don't have like a huge understanding for notes. So basically, when I'm doing tracks, then I'm always deciding with a scale. Okay, it stays in C minor or G minor, major, whatever. So for that, I'm putting a bass line inside. Let's use, for example, operator for this now. Operator, also quite underrated synthesizer from Ableton. It's actually really powerful, and you can do the like very crazy things with it. For the bassline, we just need one oscillator. The control about the 4 oscillators and operator you have here on the left side was just clicking on this nice colorful buttons here on the left. And then let's see what we do. First, I'm starting with just throwing something into the piano roll, because I always need to hear first to create the more developed idea in my head. So, okay. That's obviously a little bit too high for bassline, so I will just transpose it down with pressing the shift button and marking all the steps in the piano roll. You can go 1 octave higher and lower in once. Okay. Yeah, it sounds already closer to a bassline. Let's see. Could work maybe, but just to be sure, I'm pressing scale here, which is on the left side, and okay, this is not in scale if we decide to stay in major C, but also let's try to go into minor. Ah yeah, you see, now we're back on track. So then I decide, all right, the track will be in minor. This is for the later moments when I'm starting to do all the synthesizer elements or vocals, or like also sometimes I tune the drums as well, but I'm really not good in it because I don't know, like I'm still not understanding a little bit. For me, I have this feeling when I'm listening to the sounds, okay, this is for me, from my understanding, from my purpose of the track, sounding nice, and if it sounds nice to me, then I'm going on with that. So now, all right, and with the kick it would be like this. Adding now a little bit drive to the kick. You can rather do this like when you open the 909 core kit. I really like that you have the functions here on the left side, that you have already a little equalizer in there, which is nice if you, for example, want to duplicate the 909 core kit and then just use the hi-hats or snares or something, because usually they don't need that much low frequencies, but also you have a little saturation and overdrive in here, which you can control with drive amount and drive tone also. And the effect would be just like rather to make obviously the kick more distorted, more destroyed sounding, or I try to find the right leveling of the kick sometimes more with shaping the distortion or saturation of it, rather than making it just louder, you know, because sometimes it needs just a little bit more overtones, that it's possible to listen to it in the mix. So let's try out. And as you can hear, like make it solo, it's like this is without. And when I edit, you can really hear that especially the mid frequencies are coming more into the front. Yeah. This is how it already sounds nice. If this is not enough, I'm going into the kick drum, right here. And then here inside of the kick drum, you also can add different filter types. For example, from the MS2, and then you have a little drive function. Yeah. As you can hear, it's like this would be more for gabba or something, but as we're doing house, I like to have it clean, but still a little bit dirty, just, you know, like especially with the break on top of it, I like to have it a little bit, yeah, more noisy, and then it would be like this. And in the full mix, I can already understand, okay, because I added some drive to it, I can much more hear and feel the kick in the full mix. I like, for example, I always love when the kick is very mid-based, because I had the feeling in all the parties I was going to dance that this was what makes me dance the most, when the kick had like a super nice mid-punch. I mean, of course, a nice bass and low end is really, really important too. Like without those, it would be also just a little bit empty. But this mid kick, when it's like perfectly driven, then it was this kind of like motivation kick on the dance floor. I don't know. It's like I'm listening to the sound. It's like you play tennis, and then you really hit hard the tennis ball, yeah, and that makes this kind of like very intensively. And on a loud sound system, this is a very nice effect which like really kicks you here. And this is what I'm always aiming for, kind of. It's like, I mean, now they changed the sound system at Berghain, and it's a little bit different from the character, but the old sound system was like, it was magic for this, exactly this frequency. Like you go there and then, I don't know, Ben Klock plays there and he, like, I don't know, he just slaps you with all the mid kicks there, and the sound system was 100% like concentrated on this mid frequencies. It sounded very wooden even, kind of, but I always love that. So yeah, okay. Then this is our already a little bit shaking. Alright. This is like always when you sit then in the studio and be like, oh nice. This is kind of groovy, and then you press the 1 to cut off the bass frequencies, then you imagine to be like in the club, you're like, yeah! And I don't know, it's like, it just brings me more fun, you know, and this is, I mean, why we do that, because it needs to make or bring us fun. I think then I would already start with the ghost track of the kick. Oh, no, that was the wrong one, sorry. So I just duplicate the kick, and a ghost track. Did you heard already what you can do with the ghost track? So the ghost track of the kick, it's basically you can send every kind of transient where you want to have later on the sidechaining going to. Like I could also just put a click in it, because in the end you will not have the sound of it in the track, but it's just an information for the sidechain later. I will show you in a second. It's just an information for the sidechain. Okay, this is the rhythm where you want to sidechain me to. Like this is the moment where I should go away and leave more space for the kick. And if you do a dance track, this is like the kick should be always the center kind of it. Like, of course, the kick is nothing without all the other elements, but when you do a dance track, the name already says it, people should dance on it, and that's why I think the kick is the most important element of it. So then I'm having now this second 909 core kit, and then to not confuse myself, I'm also changing the color into white, because from all the kids movies, ghosts are white in there. And also name it Ghost. Why I rename it, I can show you with our first side chaining. Right, yeah, I'm going into dynamics and put a compressor on the bass line, and then when you click on this little second button next to the on and off, then it opens up the more detailed version, like the insides of the effect, and then you can read already, okay, here's written sidechain. Then we activate this, and then sidechain is not working just because you activate it. It needs definitely an information where it wants to be where you want to have it sidechain. So in our case here, it's the kick, so the 4 to the floor rhythm. So I send it into Ghost, and that's why I rename it into Ghost, because it's written also here where you take the audio from, and then you don't have like, you know, like 909 core kit calling break operator blah blah blah. And if you have like 20 tracks later on in your track, and then you want to sidechain something, you just easily understand, okay, this is the Ghost track where you want to have your sidechain from. So it makes it more easy for me to understand. And then now you have the audio from the Ghost kick into the compressor of the track, and what it makes, it makes more space to let the kick in the presence of the mix, and you can activate it like I show you. So as you can hear, the kick is not there from the Ghost channel, but if we bring down the threshold, it starts that here you can see, there's some moving, and if we do it extremely, you can hear that something is changing in the moving of the sound. So, and this shows you the orange meter here shows you when the kick of the Ghost channel is hitting. So this is also the moment when the sidechain is turning on. And then you of course have also all the control about ratio, attack and release. So in our case I want to have like a short release, like, right, let's see, I even want to shorten the Ghost kick to really just have the click of it. Okay, and now I know, okay, my signal from the Ghost channel is very short, so I want to have a short release of my sidechaining here as well, but a hard attack. So yeah, all right. And now when we unsolo everything and go back to our project, then you can run the kick again, and the bass has now just more room to move on its own without telling the kick, yo dude, go. Yeah, so the kick is still there, and everybody is like, every track is dancing together in the project. Okay, then I would also take away a little bit of the low frequencies of the bass to also not interrupt the low frequencies of the kick. For that, I put an equalizer as well on the kick, also to understand where actually in which frequency range is my kick working. And you can see, here there's this peak, so I also should equalize the bass frequency in a complementing way to the kick. So I take it away. And then also, actually, you can also cut off the extreme lows of the kick, because this is something what you would never hear on a club sound system. This is like our ears are not made to listen that kind of low frequencies, and it's also in the end giving you already a much cleaner mix. Like when you're in the moment of, okay, now I can do my final mix down, then you don't have already less work. So I'm always trying to do like little steps for my mix down within the production process. Okay. All right. That's kind of moving already. Then I think I would go on with some hi-hats, I would say, to also feel the drive of the track and get the motivation of like what kind of synthesizer I actually want to put on there, or what is the next element. So with putting all the drums, I mean, it always changes. Sometimes you put first the melody and then you add everything else into it. But sometimes you just start with the drums, so you have already like a good bass, let's say, which kind of inspires you maybe, or take away a little bit effort of deciding which kind of synthesizer or which kind of element you want to add on later. All right, then I'm going into my sample library again and type in hi-hat. Then it shows me, okay, in this kind of folders you should find some hi-hats. All right, let's go into the hi-hat and shaker. There's some loops here and sometimes also just additional stuff, which when you start to layer sounds could be helpful. But for now we just want like a classy, it says it's even called classy. Let's take this. It's like a, I would say, very saturated old school type of 909 open hi-hat. And put it in. So now we have already like a little bit more moving in the track, and I think I would cut the release a little bit, because I think for my taste when it's full on open up, then it's a little bit too long for me. And like this is more, I think, groovy and more shaking. Yeah, that sounds already cool. And I think now to get a little bit melodic stuff in there, I would start to play around with a synthesizer. Let's take the operator again, because I really like the operator, and I think it's also nice because if you work with Ableton, this is also what you guys all have. And maybe, I mean, I could also show you some other stuff, but I think maybe that we keep for maybe another one. So let's stick with the operator. And my step sequencer is called MDD Snake. It's, where is it? Yeah, MDD Snake. It's for Max for Life. Max for Life is the holy grail universe of Ableton, I would say, because there's so much free stuff in the internet. There's like a website, it's also called Max for Life, and there are some people upload the craziest stuff for free, like plugins, synthesizers, effect changes, or in my case here, a step sequencer, which is a 16-step sequencer. And the nice thing about it's also for free, and the nice thing for this is that you have so much control possibilities. Like here on the left side you find notes, gates. Gates is like when the step you want to hit, like when you want to the sound to be appearing, velocities, and also some custom-made stuff, but I think this is would be for now a little bit too much. So let's say, to keep it easy, I want to have from the velocity just one step and full velocity, and I decide for the step sequencer. Let me check quickly where I put the bassline. Okay, the bassline is coming a little bit always after the kick. So I could now think about like, do I want to have the tone appearing before the bass line or in between or something? Let's say we just start with something here now and see if it's not a completely trash only, but yeah. So this is how it sounds then. Okay. It's a little bit too low because we have already the bass line. So I control the transpose of the or the range of the tone. Like if I only want to have low tones or high tones here on the top of the sequencer. For example, if I want to create a bass line just with this, then I could, for example, tell the meter here, okay, I only want to have low frequencies, so it would choose only notes from the low frequencies, right? Reset. Yeah. Or we have already a bass line and now I want to have a little bit going on in the upper tones, then I choose the higher tones and click reset. That the step sequencer also realize, okay, this is where I should work in. Oh, wait. And then also not to forget, our bass line is set up to C minor. So I also go into the step sequencer, and then here on the left side we have all the possible different tones, scales, sorry. And I choose also minor. Okay, that sounds okay for now. So and then, yeah, I'm thinking about like, okay, what do I want to have? Is it like more like a step sequencer type of melody like it is now, right? That would be a little bit too much, I think, a little bit too chaotic. So let's just say I want to have the sound 4 times in my sequence. So it's now only appearing when I decided I want to have it. And then you can also think like, okay, maybe different sound, different tone. But also, if you think after a while that it is a little bit too simple, then I like this kind of trick that you group the sequencer and then you could add, like you could duplicate the sequencer within the track. So now I have 3 sequencers in here. And then you could completely play around with, for example, also the random function. When you go to MIDI effects in your left side here, then you have the random function, and you can just, I want to have it only on the second one, for example. And then also check the gates. For example, I want to have it here, here, and here maybe. And where did I put the random one now? Oh, I didn't put it, okay. So, why it's not showing? Now, okay. And I will give the randomization, I will give like maybe 80% chance, and maybe 2 scales is enough for now. And this is how it sounds without the second step sequencer. And this is then with the with this function you could like explore a little bit more wider variances of your sequence of what you want to do, and maybe a little bit more inspiring than just clicking around here. So the randomization is taking away from you this kind of like clicking just around. But to get sure about this, about the scale, I'm putting a scale as well in here. Oh wait, minor scale, of course. Where is it? Minor. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Yeah. And then you could start like put in some audio effects like delay, for example. Zack. So you have already a little bit more movement. Maybe you will play around with the delay for a little bit, make it a little bit more interesting, like changing a little bit the left and right side, so it's not everything coming on the same time. So with shifting here on this left and right, like when you put it in, it's everything on 0, and if I put it, for example, the left one on -1.6 and the right one on -2.6, then it's always a little bit different already, and it's a little bit more interesting rather than having it on 0. And then I would think like, okay, maybe I need another oscillator in here, and you add the oscillator of operator just easily with the level button of it. So now we have 2 oscillators. It's not perfect yet, but I think to go into an advanced way of this, just to show you like how you could start the sequence, how you could start to find the right melody or bass line or whatsoever in your new project. This is how I like to start it. So I would for now stick with this and just tweak a little bit around. For example, you could also FM the operator oscillators, which maybe. I didn't like the harsh sounds in the beginning. We don't have time anymore?
We have a break. We must have a break.
Huh?
No.
We must have a break?
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Move to the second part, okay?
Ah, okay.
We can end this part and have a little break and move forward to...
Ah, okay, yeah. All right.
It's okay?
Yeah, sure.
Друзі, у нас зараз буде маленька перерва, буквально 5 хвилин, і ви можете повертатись вже на свої місця. І в нас буде друга частина, це Q&A-сесія, на якій ви можете Крістоферу поставити своє питання. Тому чекаємо вас за 5 хвилин вже тут.
Thank you. Дякую. So, I just want to quickly end up this process here of creating our little loop here together. So, yeah, basically maybe there was a lot of information how I do things, and maybe it's also a little bit chaotic, but I think what I would like to tell you with this is just that you can do music with everything what you want to, you know. You can just start from wherever you want to. You can use your voice and record it on your phone and just drop it into Ableton and start something out of this. And even like you can do from your voice everything, you know, like if you work on it and want to. And yeah, that's maybe a little insight, like how I sometimes start a new project, and for sure sometimes it also happens that I'm working on a project for 8 hours, and then after 8 hours I'm like, all right, dude, this is just trash, you know, so I'm just throwing it away. But even in this process, you're always learning something, you know, like you're always trying out new things. I'm also changing from Ableton sometimes to YouTube to look a few, like a short tutorial or something like that, just to, you know, like always keep the creativity going on. And this is what I really enjoy about it. I mean, for sure, I know that I want to learn some more specific things, and I will do that in the time and amount I can handle it. But yeah, the main thing for me, why I make music, is because I like to transform my thoughts and emotions and ideas into music or things which I can play in the club or listen to on headphones later on or whatsoever. So yeah, this is then the quick result here. We could go on with this for another hour or something, but that's it for now. So yeah, thank you. All right.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, this is my desktop, by the way. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much, Christoph.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Всім привіт, мене звати Катро, я студентка-випускниця модуль Exchange, і це реально місце як like home, яке змінило реально моє життя. Я можу це сказати на краще. І всім величезне дякую, що ви прийшли. And now we have questions. So maybe you have my questions already, or I have a question from the people who send it to model. So є питання. Так. What is your fastest track?
My fastest track, I mean, from the BPM, it's I think 180 or so. But the thing is that the track has no drums. It's just completely ambient. But the thing is that when you, for example, play ambient tracks from the CDJ, you also see sometimes the weirdest BPMs in there. Like sometimes it's 90, sometimes it's 130, sometimes it's also 180. And I wanted to find out, okay, how it is to make an ambient track on 180 BPM. Basically, it sounds like every BPM, but it's just a timing thing in this case. So I think the fastest track is this, but if you talk about like a rhythmic track, I think the fastest one was 145, I think, because and this one is actually a very reduced kind of new wave sounding track, like a little bit punkish. So also has a vocal in there, and because all the like new wave and punk tracks in this style, they also happen to be very fast sometimes. But yeah, 145, because I think for my taste, everything, I mean, even now it reduced a lot, but for my taste, everything what is too fast just sounds weird for me, because there's no real groove, rhythm, and so on. And I think, for example, a dance track, the slower it is, the more space it has to groove and be sexy and so on. So yeah, 145 for a dance track and 180 or something like this was the ambient track. Yeah.
Хтось ще має питання? Чи я можу зачитати, що в нас є? Давайте. Так. Давайте.
Can you name please the genre of this techno track that we listen? Subgenre.
This one, what we just did?
No, previous.
Which one? Ah, dub techno. Dub techno, yeah. Like basically when you open YouTube and put in dub techno, you will find a new universe. It's like, it's also very nerdy music. There's like actually, for example, Dub Monitor. Actually, my best friend, he just showed me this channel. And there's like a dude, he's picking one topic, for example, basic channel, and then he's like in every crazy little detail explaining what is basic channel, where do they come from, who is it, what they're doing, why they're doing the music and so on. So dub techno is really like a whole new universe, but really beautiful one, yeah. Yeah, sure.
Так, ти, будь ласка, задавай питання, да, і потім у нас ще один є. Так.
Okay, so could you please name, thanks for the talk first of all, and could you please name like top 3 artists you've been inspired by mostly?
Can I repeat, because we need to repeat the question?
Yeah,
So your
sure.
top 3 artists for you who inspire you?
Then I have to ask a question back, DJ-wise or production-wise? Okay. Okay, let's do 4, and I do 2 DJs and 2 producers, yeah. So, producer, definitely Blawan. He's amazing. I mean, for sure, I guess this is like a common answer to this kind of question, but he's very crazy. Like he surprises with every release he's doing. The second producer, I would say Andrew. Andrew is a friend of mine, very young, talented producer. He didn't have a chance to release a lot. He just recently had a release with Shet. You maybe know Shet. He's a very great artist, also good to check out. But Andrew, he's such a crazy talent. He basically can produce everything. Like everything what he's sending to me, I'm always like, huh? What are you doing? And he's also making music only with his laptop. So it's really good. And DJ wise, I think I'm gonna stick with.
Yeah, it's so complicated.
To
choose, yeah.
2 to choose, but I would stick with my with my 2 longest inspirations. It's Ben Clock on the first place and Devious One on the second one. I know also Devious One is the DJ's favorite DJ, but he is, I mean, also a very good DJ. And Ben Clock also, because I remember first time I was going to Berghain, he was also one of the DJs I listened first there, and his whole way of playing music changed my understanding of how can you mix and how can you stretch a vibe into 4 hours, and he's very good in what he's doing, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for all people will be interested to listen to Andrew. Maybe you can later to give the links, and we can put it in the post or somewhere.
With pleasure, for sure.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, thanks. And
Sure.
your question, yeah?
And my question
Mm.
start to finish of the track.
Yeah, I need to repeat the question, and really great question. Like
Mhm.
the fastest track, what you produced, so from the beginning to the end.
Well, I would also put this in two categories because the fastest track I ever made is also the first one on my latest release. It's called Breaking Clouds, and it's like ambient kind of track. I mean, it's not only a pad going on, it's more like a bell sound melody with the SH-101 in the background and some noises and like a lot of delay and reverb chains and so on. And this track, I remember it, I was waking up, did myself a coffee, start the computer, started the track, and 20 minutes later the track was done. So yeah, I was like, okay, yeah, this is, I can't add anything, I don't want to add anything. Also, it's quite easy because it's only 3 tracks and I think 4 send and return tracks. But yeah, this was really quick. But I think from a more, from a dance track, I would say maybe 2 hours. I think. I don't watch the time usually, so I can't really say how quick it was, but I think in between 2 and 3 hours was the fastest for me, yeah.
That's the skills. Yeah. So if you don't mind, guys, I have your question, because I have really interesting questions and I would love to hear the answers also, yeah.
Can you tell me please, if it is not secret, why you decided to change your nickname?
Yeah.
Oh, the good question. Why you decided to change your nickname?
Yeah. So I did already have a project before my project before. So this now is.
You started performing like in other nights, I remember.
Yeah, exactly. So my first project was called Escape to Mars, which was like also more spacey, groovy, universe-orientated music. So very, like a lot of pads and emotions and stuff like this. And I have a big rock music background from what I used to listen in my teenager times and childhood and so on. And then I was like, okay, I really want to combine my both loves, which was rock music and electronic music. And then I started Inhalt der Nacht and was doing this kind of like EBM, new wave, rock music influenced kind of techno. But it was like during the pandemic, I already felt like, okay, more and more I don't feel this anymore, because in the studio nothing really was happening, and then there was also in our friends surrounding that some of my friends were changing the style of music again, and then I was like, okay, I see this project as a picture, and I think I painted the picture that it's done, and everything what I would add would destroy the full picture. So I rather say, okay, artistically I move on to something what I feel more, rather than slotting it out for money and sell myself on getting high fees or something like that, because in the end I would be so unhappy standing on a huge festival stage getting, I don't know, whatever fee, but I'm not feeling the music. That's like, I wouldn't do that. So I was like, okay, it was a nice project. I did everything what I think I could do with this project, had nice gigs, nice tracks and whatever. But then I really wanted to go back to more classical way of techno, let's say. So more groove orientated, but also for my new alias, I kind of don't want to set myself musical genre borders anymore, because if I want to make house tracks, I will do house tracks. If I want to do techno, I do this, and so on and so on. So, but I think the more harder type of music I'm done with. Also, I don't see myself in this bubble of our techno universe anymore. Like with the kind of scene behind it. Yeah.
Nice. So I have a few questions, like a lot, but not so much time. So
Okay.
the first one, how long did you take from the very beginning of your music career to your first release?
Oh, actually not that much. Oh, sorry. Actually not that much, because before my first serious project, Escape to Mars, I was also doing music under a few different aliases. And it was a time where, like, some friends with which I hang out during this time were making music, and we were doing minimal and like house, also very slow house stuff, tech house, I don't know.
How age you was?
I was 19. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, 11 years ago, 12 years ago, kind of around this. And around this time, we had someone who had a label. I'm very embarrassed about this project, so I will not tell you any insight. But I mean, I think if you're a Google expert, you can find out definitely. But he had a label, and he was like supporting our little young boys group there, and was like, yeah, we have to release your tracks and so on. And now I'm sometimes listening these tracks, and I was like, oi, oi, oi. Like, I mean, it's funny, and I'm happy that I can see it with like humor, let's say. But yeah, it's garbage music. So, but in total, it took us maybe 1 year or something. Yeah. I mean, also nowadays it's a complete different situation. You know, like some people start to make music, and because of all the possibilities to masterclasses, schools, and everything. We didn't have this back then when I started to make music. Also, YouTube was not that big in this field, let's say. So I think nowadays the possibilities are much quicker, and you know, like you can, for example, start to make music, become very good within 6 months, let's say, and then you can have your first release after 7 months or so. Like.
Also, I liked this question. Have you ever lost interest in music at all?
Many times, yeah.
And how you feel like I should back to produce the music?
And
what you it's from me.
Yeah.
And what you do when you feel like I'm tired of the music? What do you do?
Yeah. So, like, I had periods in my music life, let's say, where I was going every day to the studio or making music every day, and also, I mean, I used to go party a lot in my 20s, so I was like listening to what all the other artists are doing as well. So both making music, listening music outside of the club, and also listen to music in the club and see what happens on this side was like simultaneously always going on a lot. And of course, sometimes there is this moment of rather like I'm going to the studio and everything what I'm doing is like just for the trash bin, and I had the time where I was really frustrated when nothing is happening in my studio. But now, as I'm also a little bit older and have already a little bit more experience in the studio and so on, I'm like totally fine if nothing is coming out of my creative process, you know? Like sometimes you can go to the studio and you can do 7 days in 7 days, 7 tracks or so, or even more. And And sometimes you go to the studio and you will not do any track in like 3 weeks. And as I said, back then I was really frustrated, and then out of this frustration I lost the interest a little bit, you know. I started to not listen to much electronic music and more going back to listening to rock music and so on. But I think what helped me a lot to always find the way back into the creative process and making music in the studio was being fine with breaks in the studio, you know. For example, this artist, what I just said, Shed, he has also a nice interview on YouTube where he's saying the same. Sometimes he has periods where he's making a full album in an amount of time, and then he's not touching his studio computer for like 3 months or so. And then it starts again, you know, when he feels it, when he feel like, okay, now I actually have to say something, or I have emotions to transform into music or so, then it's the time to go back on track and try out.
When
but
you,
also don't
when
be
you feel hungry. Yeah.
exactly, yeah. But also don't be frustrated if it's not working from the first second, you know,
Yeah.
because sometimes even though you have a talent, but things can get a little rusty in the beginning, and then you just, you know, like you have to ease up yourself again and be like, okay, everything is fine.
Yeah, and to be soft to yourself.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, also making music and DJing is like a crafting, you know, like so. And if you constantly make music, then you will always stay in this shape or get better or something. But if you make a break, for sure, you kind of like need to warm up the machine, you know, and you and also the machines next to you.
So true. And next question: if you weren't into the music, what you will be doing? What you will be doing?
I think it would. I would say that would have changed every couple of years. Like I used to have a big fascination for coffee, and worked a lot as a barista in the beginning of my 20s. Like a lot of artists also in their young age. And I really love coffee, yeah. It's like I love to drink coffee, it tastes good, it smells good, it's nice, and it's also really interesting actually to go into the topic of coffee. So I always dreamed about my own coffee store. But then I was already with the music on a moment of a decision. Rather, I decide to make full-on music, or I'd open a coffee. But open a coffee obviously also needs so much time, and yeah, luckily I had the opportunity to become full-time musician and not. So I can just enjoy coffee now, and yeah.
So nice. I love coffee too. So maybe in the future we will have opportunity to go to your coffee store, coffee shop, and
techno coffee.
Techno coffee. Great. And also, this I think for all of us, it's so important to hear some advices from you. How to promote your music, how to work with the labels and with the foreign agencies, your recommendations. Yeah, I think a lot of people can be a bit like stuck with this, you know, like when you have your tracks and like what to do now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in general, the full package of being an artist nowadays is like combined with so much effort, so much work, so much time you have to spend it on, because there are so many other artists as well, you know, and of course everything depends on what you want to have. Like, for example, if you just want to make your music just for yourself and you just enjoy to sit at home, make your tracks and show it maybe to your friends, then you don't need to worry about anything. But if you make music, you DJ, and out of some work you put in, you actually gain some listeners or people who like what you do, start to follow you and so on, then more responsibility, more questions appear in your head. And then I think, I mean, let's first talk about the DJ perspective. So I think nowadays the biggest question is like, when is the moment I would need an agency, you know, like for example, you start to have a few gigs, like you play for one party first, and then somebody hear you there and wants to book you on a party, and so on and so on, and then you start to play every weekend. So you think like, oh wow, that's actually a lot of stress. So there's like, you have to take care about the logistics, you have to take care about your invoices, about digging new music and everything. So it's like, it becomes more and more with the amount of gig you also play. And I think for sure it's very important to find an agency as quick as possible somehow to support you in just giving you freedom of making music, so you don't have to think all about this like procedures of bookings and so on, also writing with the agent, with the promoters and clubs and so on. But also my suggestion, no, not suggestion, my tip, my advice or whatever is that don't over-rush to decide to go to the first agency which will request, because in the end it matters more that you really have a good, trustful friendship, workship with the agent who's working for you, because this is what in the end the agency is doing. The agency is working for the artist and not vice versa, which is nowadays a lot of times kind of twisted around, you know, like that. Some artists having this crazy contracts with agency and management where they will really hardly only get out of it again. So, and this can lead even to many mental problems and financial problems and whatsoever. So my advice is like, if you go to the possibility of going into an agency, really be sure about your booking agent, because it's better to have a booking agent with whom you can easily work for many years together instead of going from agency to agency and trying to find, okay, is this now the right for me? Is this now the right for me? It's not good for you, it's not good for your picture of as an artist, and it's also not good for the agency, you know, because you always have to start from the beginning. It's not like, okay, I'm going here with all my bookings and then I don't like it there, so I go there because maybe there I have even better bookings, and you take all the bookings with you. No, mainly it is like this, that if you change an agency, there is a gap of bookings of at least 3 to 6 months, because you start to work together with a complete new person and a complete new system, because every agency is also working different. So, and just also to say something to the producer side of you know, of the way is I would always, if you have tracks ready and you feel like, oh, actually I would like to release them and I'm ready to give this into the ocean of the public and make other people listening to it, I would in the beginning always rather open an own label or releasing it just on your own name on Bandcamp, for example. Bandcamp is a super handy platform, super easy to understand. It's also for free, and you basically just have to get like your own tax number that you can sell the tracks also, and so on. But I would rather in the beginning always do this and wait until I have the possibility to work with the label I really want to work with, instead of releasing on 500 different labels and then in the end wondering why the label I actually want to work with is not answering me, because the bigger labels mainly look for artists which have like a white jacket, you know, so like white jacket, because they know if they take this artist to the label, they can also benefit from this, that, oh, it's actually one of the first labels this artist is releasing with. So, and this is always what from my experience, they are looking for, you know. So I think take it easy, don't do stupid deals with agencies you're not feeling really secure with, and also don't just give your music away into the first label which will ask for it.
Okay, now I have a question. Do you have some bad experience with the labels? Like when you was disappointment?
From the labels, actually not really, because from the first serious project I started, I always started with my own label as well. So like with Escape to Mars, I had my label called Modul. With Inhalt der Nacht, I had Lebendig. And with Christoph Faust, I have now Exekutive Funktion. In general, I like to create this kind of label things and so on. I like this moment of creating it and putting like a soul in it. And all the labels I worked with, I actually never had like a really proper bad experience with them. Like for sure, sometimes in some labels which are really big, you become more a type of catalog number. And what I, for example, like to do in my labels is that I like to create more like a gang, you know, like a family where everybody feels like the same worthy and so on. But for sure in bigger labels, sometimes it's just not possible. If they already released like 100 artists, it's unnecessary to create like a intimate family vibe, because with 100 people, it's already a little village. And yeah. So yeah, but I luckily didn't had any bad experience, yeah.
Yes, your last question, okay? Good.
So you said you started 3 labels.
Mm-hmm.
And can you tell us what is it like to run own label?
Yeah, I will repeat the question. So the question, like, how is possible for you to run the label and all your stuff, what you do? Yeah, that's the question. How you handle everything.
It's a big cocktail of different things. It's like it's very, very nice, but it's also sometimes very, very hard, especially if you want to decide to create this family. Because I'm not a professional in doing this kind of work, you know. I never learned this or something. I just do it and do it in the way I think, okay, this maybe makes sense. And also on the way to things which make sense, there's also a lot of mistakes and sometimes fights in between the label or so. But I in the end, I really like to create this kind of more family vibe directed label, because I think it's a big motivation for every artist who is in there, you know, because it's never like oh, this artist is bigger than the other artist and you have to look up to the artist or something. It's more like when we are all together in a label event or in the studio or whatsoever, it was always nice that we try to reach each other on eyesight, you know, like followers and social media stuff was not important in these moments, you know. It was always more about like, look, this is what we create together, you know. And for example, I know that without like just with me being on my label, I mean, I would be not interested in that, you know, like, and I mean, maybe for a certain time, but after a while, you know, it's like I like to have the inspiration also from the artist which joins the label, because it's everything about learning and exchanging, you know. And of course, it's like always very nice, but also always very hard to keep a balance, especially with 6 different people, 6 different characters, but making one thing the same, you know. We make all music, but we are 6 different people, and sometimes it can get to fights or different opinions or something like that. But I think it's always about, like, if you have a long friend, for example, it would be weird if you 20 years friends and you never have a fight or something. But a friendship is also about like having fights and then finding the way back to the way you both or you all go together. So I really love it, but it can be a lot of work as well. Yeah, but it's a like work in this question, like in a question mark, you know, because it comes from your heart, so you never question how much effort you put in there. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
I think
thank
it's
you.
so much inspiration.
Thank you. Дякую. Дякую. Cool.
It's great. Дякую всім за увагу. Мені здається, що це було надзвичайно вражаюче і надихаюче. Я надихнулася. I'm inspired. And, да, я думаю, що на цьому ми можемо закінчувати. Всім дякую. Ми всі лінки потім надішлемо всіх артистів, які були тут згадані. Thank you so much.
Дякую.
Yeah, I love this kind of. I'm not professional, but I like to have fun. That's the most important thing. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for inviting. Thank you. Thank you.